Welcome to another episode of Singapore's Real Estate Explained. And this time around, once again, we're going to be doing a new launch review.
Yep.
And it's one of the most exciting new launch review we're going to do this year because we are going back to District 15 in the Katong vicinity. And I think this is one of the blockbuster launches that people are looking at.
Waiting for.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And things have been very interesting for the last 1 month.
Absolutely.
What have you been up to the last 1 month?
What have you been up to? The first thing is, of course, I got married. So we just enjoyed our 1 month anniversary with my love of 7 years.
1 month already?
Yes, just
exactly
1
month.
1 month. 1 month and 1 day or 2 days.
So fast.
Yes,
okay,
that's
check.
right.
Penny check.
That's right. So 1 month. And then the second thing is, of course, we entered into our second property investment. I'm just very thankful because the first home that we have bought has already appreciated. That's the reason why now collectively I've owned about $6+ million worth of real estate, right? And I still remember the first time when I bought the first one, 1.038 million, right? And it just progressed so fast, right? So fast. And third thing is, of course, this came out from Japan.
Sounds fun. Right?
Very fun.
21 days.
21 days, 3 weeks honeymoon that my wife has planned for. And I think we had a great time there.
Yeah.
It's just that I may get cancelled if I say that it's a little bit boring for me. Maybe it's because I went there too long. But I went there when the exchange rate was really good.
Yeah.
So there was a day where the exchange rate hit 116.9.
You guys try the strawberries?
Yes, a little bit. It's really good, the
Okay, that wasn't what Penny told me.
Really?
Yeah.
The strawberries not nice, man. No, okay, so there were a couple of strawberries that we tried. The first one is the strawberry mochi. That was very nice. Then there was the one that we bought from the market. Okay, that was a bit sour and a bit spoiled. Yeah. But anyways, okay, we are going to be starting our new launch review for Emerald of Katong. But before that, we're going to do the customary, okay? Number one, if you have yet to join our close to 2,000 subscribers Telegram channel, the link is going to appear right now over here.
Can be bigger.
That's right. So please scan the QR code and be part of this community, because in this community, there's going to be like clear updates on the homes that we are selling.
Yeah.
Some fire sales that we are going to be showing in the chat, some of the new launch reviews that we're going to put inside, anything under Singapore's Real Estate Explained. And what's best is that there's going to be some promo codes that's been sent inside from our preferred partners, okay? Number two, most importantly, of course, our contact number, right? So if you are wondering how you can get to meet us, okay, there'll be a contact number that's going to be right here. And this is for our client care manager, who is J. So J. is going to be there to be answering and getting you some appointments with our client, with our investment team, okay? And last but not least, I'm going to launch something that is really, really exciting and new to us. So this QR code is going to stay forever on this screen so that you can scan. If you are lazy, scan the QR code. If you're not, there's going to be a link in the description box. So this QR code, once you scan in, we are going to show you the 100 new launches that we'll be talking about from 2024 and 2025, right? So that you can get ready, your arsenal, your
So you don't have to one by one go and
That's right.
search, right?
Or
You
one
kind
by
of
one,
compiled everything for you already.
Yes, everything from the existing launches, every inventory that's available, their price as well as the 2025 launches. And I'm going to tell you one thing, there are some exciting launches in 2025. So yeah, why not just get a QR code and then you can get that free ebook, or I would say that e-publication that we're going to send it to you, and it's all for free, okay?
Yeah.
So just scan it in and then you can have a bird's eye view of everything inside, okay? The reason why we did that was because a lot of the clients have been coming to us after watching our either our home tours or investment videos, asking us, hey, I want to have the bird's eye view and I can't get anything like this. So that's the reason why we have gotten our marketing team as well as our investment team to come together to create something like this, okay? So without further ado,
let's start.
Yes,
One of the
Emerald.
most exciting.
Absolutely.
For this year, yeah.
Emerald of Katong, right? This is something that has been on the top of our mind for very long.
Yes.
And fun fact, we have gotten some of our clients who have missed some great launches to hold their horses to wait for the launch price of this development, okay? And of course, at the end of the session, we're going to do this thing called the BOA approach, the buy, wait, and avoid approach that has been quite popular amongst so many of you. So we want to thank you for your support. Thank you, because the Chuan Park video that a lot of you guys have watched has reached close to 10K views. And we don't run any ads, so we really rely on like whether is it people sending over the videos or keep watching it again and again. And we have gotten so many clients who are calling in and asking, hey, should we go for this development or should we not, right? To us, the investment team believes that real estate investment change lives. So all we hope to do is that we are able to make it objective.
Yep.
We can make it fun for you as well as make it easy for you so that you can start your investment.
On a side note, some we are kind of known as a BOA team when clients come in.
Oh, really?
You're the Boa team, right? Like, yep.
Not Bakwan team can already.
Boa team.
Okay, so without further ado, let's start. Okay, just want to share with you a little bit more. If you are new to this channel or if you're new to this, Singapore's Real Estate Explained is actually on Spotify as well. So if you don't know, there'll be a Spotify QR code that's going to appear right here. So some of our clients say that, hey, you know, right, for the Spotify part, we are like listening to you guys when we are doing our cardio in the gym or we are driving or we are on our daily commute. And you know what? We really appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. So if you are listening to us through Spotify right now, we hope that you are enjoying your day, right? Okay, so just to give you some introduction of the JNE investment team, for now we have served close to 500 investment clients. So you can see the 400 plus there. In the past year, I think we have met about 50 to 80 clients already in the past 4 months, right? Crazy. And thank God, so thankfully that, you know, all our clients have reached an average of 19.84% per annum, with some even hitting 80% or even close to 100% ROE per annum on their investments. And this is the reason why we truly believe that real estate investments, if chosen right, will change lives, okay? And if you don't know about JNE Real Estate, in the next slide, you're going to see we have officially reached 98 Google reviews. You know, we have not been a team that asks for reviews, but we are so thankful that now our clients are writing reviews for us. We only started reviews like, I think, late last year. And we are just so thankful that we have gotten 98 5-star Google reviews.
Two more to 100.
2 more to 100.
Almost there.
That's right. So if you're a client or if you're someone who have watched our content, really, you know, we are going to thank you so much for writing us a review. You know, now it's a review economy, so it kind of helps us a lot, right? And none of the reviews are bought, neither are any of the reviews, you know, under duress for people to force them to write a 5-star review. We are just thankful that currently, you know, we have reached that. And in the past years, we have sold 2,000 homes with 80% a record per square foot and close to 500 investment clients served in total, okay? So let's start. Emerald of Katong.
Yes. So maybe we go through some of the background. You know, we don't have all the information yet, but as much as we can, you know, we try to break down in terms of what the break-even cost is. So for like the floor plans and upcoming indicative prices, we'll do a second part for that. So stay tuned for that also.
So for those who know how we run our videos, usually there's 2 parts, right? The first part is always the generic information to give you guys some handlebars if you are really considering this. And then the second part, when more information is released from the developers, which we do have first-hand information from, we're going to release it so that you can buy, right? You know, one of the most heartbreaking things I've heard from some of our clients that talk to us is that how I wish I watched the video earlier, because a lot of the people that I've met ask us to buy. I watched the video, ask us to buy, but you say avoid, clear avoid. And true enough, they see that there are better launches that come out, right? And thank God, one thing we're so thankful for is that our estimation when it comes to pricing is actually very accurate for the past few videos. When we compare what we estimate, what JNE Investments team has estimated versus what was the actual launch price from the developers. I'm going to share with you a quick secret why this is so. Okay, and the reason behind that is because we are the only investment team who have had the opportunity to work closely with developers in the past. So I myself, I represented plenty of, I won't say plenty, maybe close to 5 new launches as the chief in District 15. So I understand how developers price their unit. And from there, I want to use this information to allow consumers to make better decisions, because to me, I know that real estate investments change life, right? And at first glance, when I look at the project information for Emerald of Katong, this is a big development. 846 units. And one thing is so exciting is that there's going to be 6 blocks of up to 21-story apartments, which also means that there's going to be a huge price difference when it comes to pricing units, especially in District 15.
And within each development itself, I would say that different units, you will see the profit margins at the end of 3 to 5 years, they differ quite a bit. So that's why the unit selection, I think looking at the correct development is important, but what's most important later on is how do you decide, you know, which unit is the correct one to enter in?
Absolutely, right. And you know, one thing that is something that I'm very excited when I see is the Simlian Group Limited. Because
Why?
4 to 5 years ago, when I was handling all of my investment clients, and most of them have bought and now have sold, you know, Simlian is actually known for creating projects that have been very profitable in the past. One of the most recent one being Treasure at Tampines, where it's also a mega 2,100 plus units development where clients have profited crazily, right? And I want to share with you what's the reason why 5 years ago, even the investments team have decided that our clients should enter into this project. And one of our clients, just to share with you a story, is that I still remember that they started off in a Punggol HDB, young couple of 33 and 35 years old. 4 years later, they sold 2 units in the Sim Lim project, profited more than $1.2 million, right now entering in a total collective size of $7 million real estate investment. Self-made from real estate investment. And this changed lives. And this client has been with us, best friend. We're like so good friends now. We travel together and they're like, you guys changed our life and we're so thankful for that. So we want to change more lives. So if you're interested, remember, just scan the QR code. This is a non-obligatory free consultation that you have that we don't charge for now.
Yeah.
And we just want you so that we are able to give you some advice, right? And for those clients who have spoke to us, even though they haven't bought with us, they know that we give them objective advice at the start. And we know that there are some clients who do pay money to other people so that they are able to, sometimes 4 figures, 5 figures, even 6 figures, no 6 figures, 4 figures, 5 figures to get investment advice. And when they meet us, they're like, wait, I shouldn't even have paid, right? And the reason behind that is because it is true. We want to give you immense value first because we know what is in it for us. We know that one day you'll be our client eventually, and we hope that we can work with you on your investment portfolio. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Yeah.
Okay, so some of the backgrounds, like what Jarvis mentioned, right? The developer actually did Treasures at Tampines. They also did Clover by the Park and Hillion Mall. So they are well known to do like big developments, which has actually profited quite well. So
that's right. Build quality wise, Sim Lian is not bad because they used to be a construction company, and that's the reason why as we go through the floor plans later on, you will see how they are able to maximize the efficiency of the space to make it livable for Singaporeans. Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of this plot is actually a GRS plot. So for the land bid itself, Sim Lim actually got it by just 0.1% higher than the last bidder, which is CDL. So that's like 800,000. So sometimes I wonder like how they get such exact prices. Like it's so close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think kudos to Sim Lim also because what we want to see is that there is competition or that developers are valuing this plot of land at this price also. So not just one developer itself.
Absolutely. And a land size that is so huge at 221,000 square feet is not common to see plenty of bidders because it is close to $1 billion in sale price. And when we see that there are reputable developers such as CDL who also put their bid, this shows the confidence in the developers of the resale market as well as the new launch market for this particular site. And one very interesting thing about this site, if you see, if we go on to the next slide, is that before Sim Lim was allowed to buy this plot, the government actually did ask Sim Lim that they had to build a neighborhood park that has to be given back to M Parks eventually. And why I'm sharing you this is not to share with you that, wow, it's great because there's a park next to your house and it's great for investment. It's not that, but we have to take into account that in their costing as well. So later on, as we see the break-even pricing, want to understand that the break-even price is solely based on the plot, but there's going to be some additional miscellaneous costs when it comes to building the neighborhood parks.
Yeah. I think government is quite smart. Like they get developers to build the park, right? And
you have to buy the land you build.
Yes, and then they have to like keep, I think, 9 trees in the park itself.
Yes.
So they have to build around that. Then they have to kind of expand like cycling path.
Yes.
So it's like a +1 that you get if you want the land itself.
Absolutely. This is something I love about Singapore government because I feel that, they are not just people who are very profit-driven and they know how to manage people who are profit-driven and yet increase the average...
Give back to society.
Give back to society and increase the average lives, the lives of average Singaporeans. That's something I love. Yeah.
Okay, so if to look at the land bid itself, the break-even cost is about 1,911. The first thing that people would say is, wow, this is actually quite low compared to like the last, I would say, plots at Grand Diamond and Tembusu Grand, right? So this is actually under the area harmonization ruling. Without factoring, let's say, the premium from area harmonization, usually if you look at break-even, we look at, let's say, from 10% to 25%, then this would be the average launch price without area harmonization from 2.1 all the way to, let's say, about 2.3, close to 2.4 thereabouts.
Absolutely. The reason why we are sharing with you this slide is because we do have a couple of clients who may have considered buying Tembusu Grand or Grand Diamond in the past. You know what our stance for these projects is. I'm not going to say it online, but this particular plot, right, a lot of clients, they are very worried because they say 1911 break even. We want to show you that a lot of them, they estimate the break even pricing based off the break-even price, they estimated the launch pricing based off the break-even price without area harmonization. So the next slide we're going to show you post-area harmonization, what actually the price will be.
So this is for Lentor Mansion. I think when the lands were bidded at these low prices, area harmonization wasn't really widely talked about back then until people started talking about it. So people really didn't know that the break-even price that was this low was due to area harmonization. So there was a lot of, I would say, fear or uncertainty in the market when they saw 1797. It was like, why are land bids like crashing and falling, right? But what we realized is that if you look to take Lentor Mansion, which is the first post-area harmonization plot, their break even was 1797. Based on calculation that we did, if you want to go a little bit in depth, you can actually watch our area harmonization video.
Yes.
It will be about 7% estimate of premium from the actual break even that we have, which brings it to be about 1,922.
That's right. If you have caught our Lentor Mansion video, and if you haven't, you can go back and watch it. Our estimated launch price for Lentor Mansion was actually specifically 2,138 per square foot. And if you see, based on the particular figure that was included inside, the indicative price average in the launch for the launch pricing was about 2,001 with an average of 2,002. And this was estimated by us when we went and did the Lentor Mansion video before the prices were out as well.
Yeah.
So to the right, you will see that based on break-even pricing for Lentor Mansion, they actually priced it on average above 15% based on their pricing.
Yeah. So if we were to use the same calculations for Emerald of Katong, you would see that 1911, if you were to add the premium of, let's say, the area harmonization, right, it would be about 2044 for the break even, which is also considered, I would say, relatively lower. If you don't factor in, like, they have to build the park, they have to expand the cycling path, right, which these are additional costs to the developer itself.
That's right.
Then the break-even prices will be at the bottom. So you can see from 10% to 25%, it will then averagely launch about 2.2 all the way to, let's say, about 2.5-ish.
Yes. Anything that is under 15% break-even price, it's a good buy, definitely, at Emerald at Katong. But of Katong, sorry. This name is very interesting, okay? I love this plot. Not only do we get it mixed and wrong, but I feel that the name is a very interesting name. I honestly prefer the name Tembusu Grand and Grand Diamond rather than the Emerald
You
of
thought
Katong.
it would be Emerald at Katong, because usually it's at Katong. It's Emerald of Katong.
So they want to make it the Emerald of the gem of Katong, right? So this is the next slide. What we're going to cover is they're going to show you a little bit more about based off Simlian pricing strategy in their mega development, how they have priced it within across the years, and so that as a client, let's say right now, you are building some capital, do you really have to rush in to buy, or can you wait a bit longer to buy if you're saving up some money? Yep.
So for the next slide, we'll be looking at Treasure at Tampines, which is the biggest development in Singapore by Simlian also, which is one of the most recent ones. So it's something that we're going to compare with to see how they have kind of priced their units, and also later on how have the whole development profited or not profited in general.
Absolutely. So if you look at the break-even price of 1,166 in the past, back in 2019, for a plot in Tampines, there's about 1,001 per square foot with an indicative price before the pricing was out at 1,003. A lot of clients, they were very, 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 very apprehensive, right? So right now, on hindsight, on hindsight, you'll be thinking that, hey, it's definitely a clear buy lah. But back in 2019, with the average OCR pricing at about 900 to 1,000, 1,003 seems to be like 30% or 40% above what average pricing should be. And if you look at Treasure at Tampines, the pricing strategy from the developers, if you go to the table to the right, which we have compiled for you, at the launch date, which was on the 15th of March 2019, Treasure actually launched the PSF at about 1,335 average per square foot at about 14.4% above break even. And I still remember on launch day, only 9% out of all the units were actually sold.
It was 200 plus units.
Correct. So it was close to 200 units that were sold in Treasure and Tampines. And as we go along the years from 2019 to 2020 to 2021 to 2022, if you see 2020 to 2021, you're going to see that pricing increment actually reduced a little bit more because that was obviously our COVID pandemic. And you can't go into show flats to view, and developers are getting worried, especially if you have 2,000 units to sell. You want to sell it out fast within 5 years. If not, you have to the QC timeline, you have to pay the ABSD, it's not going to be cheap for 2,100 units. But if you see, the greatest price increment happened after launch, 1 year after launch, which was close to 3.7% from 2019 to 2020. Then, of course, in 2022, 24.8% above break even. So what does it mean for us if we are a consumer that is buying Simlian project? Number one, if you buy within the first year for a mega development, that's kind of okay. But prices will definitely increase as we go along. Will there be a pandemic that hit us? Of course, we hope that it wouldn't happen because it affects a lot of lives. But if there is, price increment will definitely drop. But it shows that Simlian, as a pricing strategist in the market, has been consistently increase prices throughout the years. So it's not like they will sell high, then they will drop low, or they will sell low all the way. Just to share with you all this.
I would say this is also a benefit of, let's say, bigger developments, because it gives the developer runway to actually do price staging also. Because sometimes when a smaller development, they don't get the opportunity in between because maybe units just clear out. So I would say the take-up rate of a development at the start may or may not also represent how well the development will do later on.
That's right.
Yeah.
I recall that when we were selling Treasure at Tampines after launch, right, a lot of the clients were saying that, can we buy or not? Because like only 9% take-up, like, do you think it's a good price? But ultimately, as you know, or you've watched our webinars, our seminars, our videos, you know that for us, it's all about the pricing.
Yep.
Right? Ultimately, it's about the pricing. So let's take a look a little bit more about the profitability of transactions in Treasure and Tampines. So out of the 307 transactions that have been done, all 307 have profited.
So congrats to all the owners at Treasure.
Absolutely. And if you take a look, based on the highest profit, which we have sorted out for you, most of the biggest size units, the 3-bedroom, the 4-bedrooms, actually, the 4-bedrooms specifically, are the ones that made the most. So what does this mean? If you have the affordability to go above 3 to 4, of course you try to consider that, because based off a per square foot and a size play, you know, based on the quantum, you're going to definitely increase way more. And it doesn't mean that the 2-bedrooms and the 2-bedrooms or the smaller 3-bedroom compact didn't make money, right? There were 300 transactions, and on average, they made about $300,000 in profit after 3 years. So the reason why we are showing you this particular slide is because we want to let you know that if you are a consumer of a Simlian project in the past, you will know that if Simlian continuously priced the units relatively reasonably, slight above break-even price, profitability shouldn't be of much of a concern, right? And if you go on to the next slide, you will see that based off the master plan, we're seeing that there's going to be a proposed erection of a 9-story nursing home that's right beside. Okay, this will definitely be a concern for a lot of the buyers, because especially if the pricing of the units in the 800 plus development is going to be relatively similar, which we saw kind of in Lentor mentioned, right? Then you need to know what kind of units to choose, because when you go into the resale market, there's going to be some buyers in the resale market that's afraid to buy something that's facing a nursing home, whether is it feng shui reasons or whether is it just generally the fear of not being able to exit in the future. Okay, so if you don't know anything about it before you pull the trigger, please talk to someone who's competent and know that this is happening and know how to estimate what view you're going to get right above it. Okay, and this is just something for
because
you.
it's going to be something in the near future. So I think it's estimated up by 2025. So definitely when Emerald of Katong, it's up. This one will definitely be there already.
Up first.
Correct.
This will be up first.
2025 is going to be up there already.
Yes. But the bonus of this kind of nursing home is that, you know, we know that I think the government kind of expected, before they allow this site to be tendered, they kind of expected that there's going to be an increased aging population in the area, because there's so many units that just suddenly come in, and this is going to be a good place for the elderlies eventually, if, you know, kids unfortunately gets a little too busy. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the public transport options.
So for location, it's not particularly near to the MRT. It's about 10 to 13 minutes walk to Tanjong Katong MRT.
It's not near. It's far. 30 minutes walk is super far.
Under the hot sun, or you can carry umbrella. If not, you're gonna have to walk to the bus stop, which is 3 minutes. So that's still okay.
Yeah. In District 15, it's not known for developments to be always near the MRT station. Okay, maybe some 5, 8, 10 minutes walk. Yeah. And most people buying in District 15 projects, they are always usually driving. So proximity to MRT is not a big concern. But of course, if there's another development that is near a MRT station and the pricing is similar, then of course it's a no-brainer to consider something that's nearer to MRT lah. Okay. All right. So now we'll talk a little bit more about the East Coast plan, because we have a plan for East Coast. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But anyways, in the East Coast Park vicinity, there's going to be some changes that's going to happen. And these changes have been talking about for a long time, okay? Which means that in this particular area, part of the reclaimed land, there is going to be new integrated options and housing options, as well as I think government wants to create like some coastal parks as well as some recreational areas there. Will these affect your prices just because there's going to be some transformation? Okay, the answer is definitely no lah. Okay, because I don't know, how far is it to walk to that area, to East Coast Park at least, right? For me, as a resident that is right in front of East Coast Park, I don't see how future buyers come in and tell me, say, I'm going to pay higher because there's going to be an East Coast plan right there. Okay, there's none. But I guess this will be a marketing, wouldn't call it gimmick, but a marketing angle for some developers as well, or a technique, right? But just to let you know, East Coast is changing a bit here and there, yeah? So let's go deep into the new launch price comparisons.
So for new launch comparison, we'll be looking at two major ones, Grand Dunman and Tembusu Grand, which are both relatively bigger developments, so quite comparable. And they launched about the same time, so last year. Okay, so if we look at some of the differences, break-even price, Grand Dunman is at 2292, Tembusu Grand at 2130, and then you see a drop, Emerald of Katong at 1911. So area harmonization, Emerald of Katong is I would say the second plot in Singapore after Lentor Mansion. So Grand Diamond and Tembusu Grand definitely not affected by it. And then you can see that the average price for Grand Diamond is about 2569 and Tembusu Grand at 2446. So even though the break-even price for Emerald of Katong is relatively low at 1911, it's pretty unlikely that developer is going to be launching
under 2.4.
Yeah, correct. Because your competitors around are already launching about 2.4 to 2.5.
So if we look at the unsold volume in Grand Diamond as well as Tembusu Grand, you're going to see that there's close to 45 to 48% of the units not sold. Because the narrative on the ground right now, the sentiments on the ground is that most people want to wait for Emerald of Katong first.
Yeah.
So don't be worried that in District 15 it cannot be fully sold. Actually, that's not the case. There were a lot of people who are interested in District 15 projects. Maybe I have some biasness because I love D15 and I always see how it sell out for the previous launches that happened. So for Simlian, if you see what they did in Treasure at Tampines, right, they were perfectly okay with 9% being sold during launch day. And I don't recall the developers being very panicky or asking agents to push more sales of the unit because they know that they have 5 years to sell. So I don't think that the PSF there is going to be anything under 2004 or even maybe 2003. Yeah, 2003, 2004. If it's under 2003, then you know what to do lah. Run, zao, and go and buy lah. Okay, so if we go on to the next slide, you will see that we will compare for you the proximity to MRT, Grand Diamond, Tembusu Grand, as well as Emerald of Katong, right? So for Grand Diamond, of course, this outbeats everybody. 2 minutes to Dakota MRT station. For you to decide whether you feel that Dakota at the fringe of D15 is considered really D15, that is for you to decide. And for Tembusu Grand Emerald of Katong, kind of 10 minutes walk to Tanjong Katong, very similar, 700 meters away, okay? And in terms of schools, okay, one click from Grand Diamond, we have Kong Hua, one of the top schools, as well as Tanjong Katong Primary. For Emerald of Katong, there will be Tanjong Katong Primary, as well as Head Girls School, similar to Tembusu Grand. So from there, you can see that Tembusu Grand, as well as Emerald of Katong, they are truly apple-to-apple comparison.
Missing the Kong Hua by a little bit.
Just
a little bit. So if to compare directly with Grand Diamond is 1,008 units, so very comparable with the units at Emerald of Katong.
Yes.
And the average price is about 2,553. So Emerald of Katong will likely, I think, launch about the same price or maybe slightly lower because it doesn't have the MRT beside it.
That's right.
Okay, so we move on to the take-up rate for Grand Diamond in terms of the different bedroom size. For 3-bedder specifically, what we did was we went to take a look at the ones with, that means the more compact ones with no store, and then the bigger ones with, let's say, the study plus the storeroom. Because we wanted to see in the area itself, for own stay, some people would prefer like with storeroom, and they tend to say that, okay, these units maybe move a little bit faster.
Yes, so there's always a concern on the ground where, you know, if I can't buy a place or a unit, household shelter or store, will be a concern in the resale market.
Yeah.
But if you see at the take-up rate for Grand Diamond, actually those without store actually went way faster than those with stores. I think one thing that is common in terms of narrative on the ground is that a lot of people like to stay in D15, but most of them, they also care a lot about the affordability lah. So affordability is also one of the important factors you got to take note of. So don't be too worried if there's no store for the unit at Emerald of Katong if that's your affordability.
So if you look at the differences in price is about, I would say, 700K difference. So with a store and with no store, I think there are still buyers on the ground that would sacrifice like a storeroom for the
Close
difference.
To $1 million for household, for household shelter. You know, just buy a HDB for a store. Yeah.
So if we look at the prices of Grand Diamond, for 2-bedders wise, you will see that it ranges from, I would say, 1.7 to 1.8, 1.9, depending on your floor level and also facing. So let's look at the floor plan comparison. We don't have the exact floor plan for Emerald of Katong. What we did was, because this is the second post-area harmonization plot after Lentor Mansion, so we took the floor plan from Lentor Mansion. Hopefully the floor plan kind of turns out the same because I think they did a very good job for Lentor Mansion itself. So you take 2-bed, 2-bath, you see Lentor Mansion at 657 dumbbell square feet. If you were to use this size for Emerald of Katong at about 2006 to 2007, which is, I would say, on a slightly higher per square feet, you'll see the quantum comes down to be about 1.7 to close to 1.8 thereabout. And if you compare it to Grand Diamond, 2-bed, 1-bath was about 1.5 to 1.9. And then the 2-bed, 2-bath at 775 was about 1.8 to 2.25. So if you compare 2-bed, 2-bath Emerald of Katong with Grand Diamond, I would say the pricing for Emerald of Katong will be something interesting in terms of quantum size, even though the per square feet is slightly higher.
Because of area harmonization.
Yeah, so I think this is something that buyers moving forward have to be a little bit careful in how they analyze the properties, because it's no longer about per square feet. Since there will be some units that are pre-area harmonization, some units that are post-area harmonization. So then quantum also comes into play when you're looking at the units.
So if you go deep into the floor plan that we have pulled out for you from Lentor Mansion, and we are assuming that Emerald of Katong will follow the same kind of layout, you're going to see that it's actually a very usable dumbbell layout with a 6-seater dining. And if you take a look at Grand Diamond, right, similarly, there's also going to be an open concept kitchen. So if you compare apple to apple, like what Grace have mentioned, from the 2-bed, 2-bath of Emerald of Katong to the 2-bed, 2-bath at Grand Diamond, with $100,000 to $500,000 difference depending on floor level in these two developments, Emerald of Katong doesn't seem too poor as an alternative or an option.
Yeah.
So if you go on to see the 3 bedrooms in Grand Diamond, in terms of pricing, you're going to realize that, okay, floor level in District 15 really matters. This is something that you will realize because honestly, different kinds of floors give you different vantage points, right? Lower floors, sometimes they don't have the unlocked views that they offer as compared to the higher floors. But this doesn't work for all developments, remember this. Because some developments, right, the higher floors is also facing a block that's equally high.
Yeah.
So be very careful about this. And you'll see that the 3-bedroom at Grand Diamond is going at an average per square foot of 2,003 for the first floor unit, but actually 2,005 plus, all the way to 2,006 per square foot.
Yeah.
And if we compare the floor plan layout again, compared to the 818 square feet estimated floor plan of Emerald of Katong to the 936 square feet Grand Diamond unit at 3-bed, 2-bath, you're going to see that the price difference of $300,000 it makes Emerald of Katong a very attractive choice, especially when it comes to affordability. It means that today, if I'm an investor at Emerald of Katong based on JNA Investments estimated price, if I were to sell it eventually into the resale market, I want to profit 3 to 400K, I'm selling it at the launch price of Grand Diamond.
Yeah.
And think about this, 3 years later, will pricing be similar? Will pricing be different? Or will pricing, be higher than Grand Diamond? That's something that I want you guys to
So I think area harmonization really played a big role in, how developers actually design their floor plan. Because I think after area harmonization, what we realized is the whole floor plan became more useful.
Yeah.
There were some changes in terms of the room size also.
Yeah.
In that, if you notice Lentor mentioned, the first thing that people go in, right, is that the windows suddenly became like half.
Yeah.
So it's not as luxurious, but you have to understand the reason behind it is also because they had to push out the walls so that the consumers don't pay for it. Right? So you get slightly bigger spaces in the unit itself, but until they think of a new design way, you might see like the half
some
window.
compromises here and there in the design quality. And we go on next to the bigger 3-bedroom, the 990 square feet 3-bed, 3-bath, as well as the Grand Diamond 3-bed, 3-bath as well. We're going to see that pricing is also about 100 to 400K difference.
Yep.
So when it comes to exiting in real estate investments, remember quantum play is very important because ultimately Singaporeans, most of them, they're thinking about affordability. 80 to 90% of Singaporeans will care about affordability more than the how luxurious or how grand the unit is, okay? So if you go on to Emerald of Katong versus Tembusu Grand, okay, so if you look at Tembusu Grand, you're going to see that Tembusu Grand at 638 units is relatively comparable to the 800 plus units development at Emerald of Katong, right? With an average per square foot of 2,400 per square foot without area harmonization, okay? And if you take a look at the take-up rate at Tembusu Grand, you're going to see that similar to Grand Diamond, the 3-bedroom with no store is actually like selling like hotcakes with 4 left. And that 4, right, the pricing is very different from the launch price. That's why it's still stuck. Yeah, because similar to what Grace have mentioned previously, those without store is selling at about 2.288 million. Those with store is selling at $700,000 more.
So 700,000 for a store, some people may just forgo it say, I'm just going to put my things in, I don't know, my cabinet.
Absolutely. Or they may consider a neighboring development that is slightly older, that is cheaper with a store as well, right? So as what we have mentioned previously, don't be worried if your affordability only reaches up to a point whereby, you can't buy one with a store, okay? So if we look at the pricing of the 2-bedroom in Tembusu Grand, okay, the average PSF has gone from about 2004 all the way upwards to 2007 PSF being on the 20th floor. This kind of price is very important because most of the clients that went through with us, when we start serving them, the most important thing we got to do is that we will know all the comparative PSF. So we know that your unit, if you choose right, will be the best, one of the best when it comes to exiting 3 years later.
Yep.
And similarly, when you pull out the estimated floor plan layout of Emerald of Katong, the 2-bed, 2-bath versus Tembusu Grand, you're going to see that, okay, there's going to be a slight price difference on this. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so I think it depends on how much Emerald of Katong is going to be launching, but if you estimate it to be about 2627, you're going to have about 1.7-ish million, I would say, quantum for Emerald of Katong versus Tembusu Grand, where some owners initially entered at a 1.5 range.
That's right.
And I would say the highest is about 1.8. So in this comparison then, Emerald of Katong doesn't seem like it's a it would be a standout.
Yes.
If it were to launch at, let's say, 2627.
That's right. Because if you were to enter at 1.7 million, while the previous owners have entered at 1.566 million, it means they really lost up 140K. But of course, these owners took the risk earlier. And as you know, when it comes to real estate investments, people always buy more and more expensive as the years go by.
Yes.
But if you want to consider an apple-to-apple comparison for maybe a higher floor unit at Emerald of Katong that is at 1.7 versus a higher floor unit at Tembusu Grand at 1.7, maybe you mix a little bit more about the own stay element. You want to stay inside as well, then that is something that you can consider also.
But of course, if the developers happen to launch it lower, let's say even at 2.5, then potentially quantum at Emerald of Katong may make sense. So it really depends on how the developers actually price the unit.
Correct. So we are going to have a second part video on Tembusu Grand with all the actual layout as well as the actual pricing.
Okay, so moving on to the tree beta, you can see that it ranges from all the way from 2,300 per square feet all the way to about close to even 2,600. And looking at the floor plan, 818 square feet at Emerald of Katong, if you were to say 2,550 to 2,650, quantum-wise, we're looking at about 2.085 to 2.168. So how this compares with Tembusu Grand at 990 is going to be then about 2.28 to 2.552. So I would say 3 beta wise, a little bit different from the 2 beta where the quantum may not be as attractive if they were to launch at this size, at this per square feet. Quantum for Emerald Katong, I would say it's pretty attractive because it's just a side-to-side plot.
That's right.
So
just
it's not really like comparing to Grand Diamond where Grand Diamond is beside the MRT, right? I would say these two are quite comparable. So if they were to launch at this pricing, at this square feet, this size, I would say the 3 betas would then make a very strong competition.
Attractive choice, right? Based on quantum, right? And even if you see the 3 bed, 3 bath, you're going to see that it's similar, right? It's cheaper in terms of quantum if based on the launch price as well as based on the estimated size that we're going for.
Yes.
So right now we're going to compare a little bit more on the resale comparison in the area so that we kind of see what is the current demand and what's the current supply in District 15, specifically developments that are near to Tembusu Grand as well as Emerald of Katong. Yeah.
So the first one we're comparing is Shaw Residence that completed in 2014.
10 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 408 units. So I would say also a mid-sized development. Average pricing, you would see it's about 1996 per square feet for their units over there.
Yeah.
You talk about location, how far it is. I would say also quite comparable. 8 minutes walk, about 600 meters, where Emerald of Katong is going to be at.
That's right.
So let's take a look at the 2 betas. You will see that the 2 betas, the per square feet ranges from about 1,009-ish, 1,008, 1,009 for the more recent ones that have been transacted, I think this year or sometime last year.
If you go into Property Guru and you try to find a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom in District 15 that is of a good PSF, you're almost close to impossible already because a lot of owners who are in D15, they are diehard fans of D15 and they are not going to sell unless you pay a good price for it. So supply is a big concern in D15 because a lot of them, this is like the final home.
It's like they'll be saying east side, best side.
Yeah, east and east side, best side. That's right. Okay, so if we go on and compare a little bit more about the layout of Shaw Residences versus Emerald of Katong, you're going to realize that, okay, for Shaw Residences, so sorry for this because it's an older development, so it's not easy to get the floor plan. Shape-wise for Shaw Residences, you can see that it is something that a lot of the older D15 properties love to go for. Open concept kind of kitchen with a bar counter for you to go in. If you see seaside residences or if you see Silversea, specifically, you're going to see that layouts are similar. Bedroom sizes definitely way bigger with a balcony that is almost 3/4 size of the living room. But for Emerald of Katong, you're going to see that if the floor plan remains the same, and Simlian being a builder, thinks a lot about, the own stay element of a owner, you're going to see that actually it's a little bit more practical. Okay, and pricing wise, it's quite similar. For a 10-year-old project, right? By the time Emerald Katong TOPs, it's going to be like a 14-year-old project. And it's quite similar in terms of the pricing. So let's think a little bit more. If the resale options in the market is going to be of the same quantum as the new launch options in the market, albeit it being about 200 or 180 square feet smaller, which one will you choose? Sometimes going and approaching investments with a reasonable amount thought is going to be easier because you will then not overcomplicate things and think which is of a higher demand, right?
I think this was also similar to what happened at Treasures.
That's
where
right.
the 4 betas at that time, yes, it being smaller, but because the new launch is more compact, I would say the space are more efficient.
Yes.
You don't have like big bay windows, no more big balconies, no more AC latch. So all the loopholes are being covered, right?
That's right.
When you compare 4 beta to 4 beta, people tend to go for the newer one if your layout is not too weird, I would say.
Yes, not too off lah.
Yeah.
And still livable. affordable. So if you go on to the 3-bedroom pricing of Shaw Residences, you're going to see that the most recent transactions that happened in 2023 happened at above 2,000 per square foot, right? And of course, you got to take note that because the floor level is high at 15th to 20th floor. But if you go back to July 2022, 2014, you're going to see that for this particular PSF is 1,008 per square foot, which means that from an apple-to-apple comparison, 2014 versus 1 year later at 2010, there's a jump of about 160 per square foot. Okay, one thing I love about D15 is this. You take a look at the number of transactions for a relatively big development of 408 units. Okay, you're going to see that the yearly transaction volume is not very, very high. Okay, and the reason behind that is because supply-wise, as we have mentioned previously in D15, people don't like to exit their units there. Yeah. And if you look at the per square foot, the PSF has been going up from 1.7 to 1.8 to 1.9 to 2,000. And this is something I love about D15 because in the resale pricing for this kind of developments, it rarely dips or stagnate. So if we go on to the next slide, for the 818 square feet versus the 1141 square feet, you're going to see that the 1141 square feet actually has a lot of AC ledge.
Which today you're not going to be paying for it, so yes. So that's good.
Yes, and AC ledge is really all at one corner. And the balcony as well as the living dining, right, you're going to see that, it's kind of similar in size.
And one thing you'll note is that the bedrooms here are not like, say, very even out because bedroom 3 is slightly smaller than the bedroom 2 and master bedroom.
This was before all the cooling measures came in where, people are very used to bigger size bedrooms. Yeah. So it's quite interesting that developers actually build it that way. But let's look at the quantum play, right? In terms of quantum play, you're going to see that Emerald of Katong, if priced at 2 million or 2.1 million respectively, it's still going to be about 200 to 300,000, close to $300,000 difference from a 14-year-older condominium. Yeah. So this puts Emerald of Katong at a very competitive, giving it a very competitive edge compared to the nearby older.
Yeah, because when you're collecting your keys, these resale will then be, I would say, 3 to 4 years older than you again.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if we go on to the next development, which is Silversea. Okay, Silversea, one of our well-loved projects, because we sold a couple of units in Silversea, and that is one of the few developments that I fell in love with District 15, and one of our team lead for Southside, Geraldine, almost wanted to buy the unit that we were selling. Beautiful development in D15. 99 years as well with 383 units. 14 minutes walk away from Jalan Tembusu, Emerald of Katong, if you can see in the next slide. You're going to see that the 2-bedroom pricing for Emerald of Katong, for Silversea, has already hit 2,000 per square foot for a second floor unit at 1.975 million. And as I've mentioned to you, pricing of District 15 is always on the rise from 2021 to 2024. Yes, 2020 to 2021, we consider them as black swan events in real estate because COVID actually changed a lot of the pricing dynamics of real estate, right? And may not happen again, but from the past, after seeing so many District 15 last transacted, as well as developments, whether it's Mayrise, Makina, Sovereign, it's so many, you'll see that prices are always on the rise. Because simply put, it's basic economics whereby supply is always lower than the demand of wanting to stay in D15. We are already seeing that there are a lot of individuals who want to shift to District 15 more than even District 9, 10, 11. Yep. Simply put, in the past, people love to stay near the city centre. Now I think Singapore is too stressful. People want to stay near the sea and the cafes.
They feel like the vibe is very cool.
Yes.
Like you.
Yes, no, I didn't go there because I felt the vibe is cool. I go there because I feel that it's a very relaxing space. But honestly, I complain because the cafes are very expensive. So I'm thinking, where can I buy my normal food for?
Make yourself.
Absolutely, make yourself. Or
cook
which I can't. Or maybe Old Airport Road food court lah. Yep. Okay, so if you look at the floor plan layout for Emerald of Katong as well as Silversea, you're going to see that the 969 square feet has a very good sized bedroom as well as master bedroom. They don't have any balconies for District 15. A lot of people staying in D15 actually do love balconies. There are some that really don't like the balconies, but most of them love balconies. And you're going to see that there's still the yard as well as the AC ledge. This makes the 657 square feet, if being built in a dumbbell layout format by Simlian, very attractive as a layout plan because the price difference is already $250,000 or $70,000
for something that's brand new.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you go on to the 3-bedroom, you're going to see that per square foot for a 6th-floor unit has also already hit 2001 PSF, right? And if you know about District 15, for most of the developments, anything under 6th floor, you will not be able to enjoy a sea view. Most likely, you're going to see trees view. Anything above 8, 10 floor safest, you're going to see the sea view as well. So you're going to see that pricing for Silversea, even though the 99 years tenure is dropping, PSF has increased from 1,003 all the way to 2,1. So D15 to me is something I love. You know why? Because I believe that if you know, in JNE, we always say this, when it comes to investments, don't mix numbers with emotions. But in District 15, even though the per annum ROI after TOP, where the price hit the highest, is not going to be higher than a lot of the flips they're going for, but it's a development whereby you can stay knowing that prices still will
There is
inch
still a steady
upwards.
growth
That's right.
even after you TOP.
That's right. The prices will still inch upwards, right? And that's something that's great about D15. So if you compare the 3-bedroom layout for Silversea, right, for Emerald of Katong versus Silversea, you're going to see that the 1,485 square feet Silversea weird shaped balcony, irregular
Unique shape.
unique shaped balcony development, it's interesting lah. Okay, regular size master bed, and
you get a study.
Yes, you have a study there, and you also have the yard as well as the AC ledge. Practical if you want to have let's say a helper. But if you go on to see the 990 square feet Emerald of Katong unit, there's also a household shelter.
There's also a study.
And a study, and you have a wet and you also have a dry kitchen. So it's actually very similar in terms of layout, and price difference of $600,000 to $700,000
for like maybe slightly bigger rooms and slightly bigger, I would say maybe living dining space slightly bigger also.
That's right.
But overall, about the same.
Maybe Silversea because it's slightly nearer to East Coast Park, so it should be worth more, and nearer to Katong V. You know, where I charge my car a lot, maybe it should be worth more. But I don't remember that being part of our investment strategy or philosophy. Okay, so this is the last slide of the analysis, and we want to give you a very brief one so that you have some handlebars. But let's go on to the last part of our video, which we always talk about the BOA approach, right? Maybe we give some passing remarks about how we feel about Emerald of Katong first, based on what you have seen. Just something that you feel that, hey, compared to the 2024 upcoming 2025 launches, is it attractive actually? What do you think?
I would think it's one of the more attractive developments for this coming year. Firstly, because it's a big development. Secondly, location-wise in D15 is something that's upcoming and a lot of people are looking into it. Thirdly, of course, the developer got it at a very, very, very attractive price.
Absolutely.
Despite, of course, it being after area harmonization, them having extra cost to build the park.
Absolutely.
But I would still say that they got it at a pretty good price, just 800K above, 0.1% above like the previous bidder.
Absolutely. So personally, I feel that Emerald of Katong is going to be quite an attractive launch, especially if we have the combination of a big development plus a reputable developer that has kind of helped a lot, 100% of their clients make money in the resale market, secondary market, and looking at the historical price strategy of this developer at Treasure at Tampines, a big development as well, where they price unit about 14% at launch, higher than break-even at launch. Estimated PSF at 2,351. If that really happens, you don't need to listen to us to say BWA, BWA. It's definitely a buy.
Just B.
It's just B. It's a B. Okay? But knowing that they may have to build a park beside, and then knowing that Tembusu as well as Grand Diamond is going already at a PSF of 2,526, will the developers price it at 2,003? If have, good lah,
But unlikely lah.
But I think
of course, we hope that they do.
Yes, we hope that they do so that our clients can really make money. So what do you think is the estimated PSF of this?
I think it would averagely be about 2.5-ish, 2.6.
I agree.
Maybe starting slightly a bit lower for some of the units at the start.
Yes. So I think 2.4 and 2.5 will be the per square foot. Okay, so let's go into the BWA approach now. Okay, assuming that Emerald of Katong is going to go at about an average price of 2,005 per square foot. Is it buy, wait, or avoid for you? Okay, we go 3, 2, 1, then we go BWA. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Wait. Wow, same. Okay, why wait?
Because I think at this point, we don't have the floor plan. We based it on, let's say, Lentor Mansion, that was the first plot after area harmonization, which was a very good floor plan, I would say. But for all we know, if they happen to come up with, I don't know what developers can come up with, like maybe some weird floor plan, they make I would say, the size very big and the quantum doesn't make sense, or the quantum is way higher than, let's say, the Grand Diamond or Tembusu Grand.
Yes.
Then potentially it may not be worth it to enter, even though the per square feet may make sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree with what you mentioned. If it's 2,005 per square foot with the break-even price of Tembusu at about, the average price of Tembusu at 2.4 and Grand Diamond, there's 2 minutes from Dakota at 2.569. I think that these two options will get a little bit more attractive. Of course, the current supply left is no longer at a PSF, but it doesn't pit Emerald of Katong like at a launch whereby, oh my God, it's such a good development that is definitely worthwhile to invest, because there are definitely other developments in the market that you can make higher ROI per annum. Yeah. And that's the reason why I say wait. Yeah. I think sometimes developers, especially when there are 3 combined about 2,000, close to 2,000 units developments, they're looking to sell. Both haven't sold 40+% of unit. One haven't even started selling 100% of unit. With the different price dynamics you're going to see, there's going to be a slight competition whereby there's going to be some slight incentives that's going to be released here and there that can get you a good price, right? So we hope that you've enjoyed this first preliminary episode of Emerald of Katong, and we hope that you gave you some handlebars at least that you can understand a little bit more. If you have watched our review videos, you know that we are a team that is very numbers driven. We look at the floor plan specific, and we are not people who are just based on our emotions and our gut feel. You know why? Because in the past, we have met so many people who had convinced us about their gut feel, their emotions, how they kind of feel about a project. And we have seen that the results has gone south a lot of times already, especially sometimes even high to ultra high net worth clients, right? So we are very sensitive about historical data, current supply, future supply, current demand dynamics, as well as the pricing, okay? All right, so if you're wondering how you can get to speak to us, right? We are free, non-obligatory. The QR code is over here. Talk to us so that we can change your lives in real estate investments. It is indeed true that we have gotten a lot of inquiries and clients, and we are so thankful for your support. We will do our best with our investment team as well as our client care executive to reply to all of you as soon as possible and to take on your project to help you kickstart your real estate portfolio. And if you don't know, as I mentioned just now, we are releasing a free e-copy, an e-book that's going to be right here. Scan the QR code, sign up for it. We're going to show you the 100 new launches, the estimated break-even price in the whole Singapore, so that you know what you should buy and what you should not buy, okay? Thank you so much for watching this episode brought to you by the J&A Investments team of Singapore's Real Estate Explained New Launch Review Series. This is Jervis.
This is Grace.
And we will see you for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.